into that tingling, burning, and numbness in your feet and hands to give you all that feeling back with no pain in as little as 7 days. So watch every second of this fast-paced video to learn how to end neuropathy fast and easier than ever.
Hello, I'm Dr. Darius Freeman, and in the next 3 minutes, I'm fixing to break down why we African Americans face such a tough battle with neuropathy. I'm here to put you up on game about how each one of us, no matter our age, can knock out the real root of this nerve pain. We do it by kicking a sleeping gene into action and unleashing our body's natural mojo to repair not only our nerve endings, but also restore feeling to our hands, feet, and legs. See, you'll soon get why black folks suffer so heavily with neuropathy, and there's one simple truth behind it. No matter how many meds you've been handed, I'm about to show y'all how to start turning neuropathy around in just a few days, ending the constant tingling and that awful burning feeling and lowering your risk of falls or permanent nerve damage. Even though it might sound all complicated, our body already has the blueprint. We just have to switch on some dormant genes, and we're going to do it in an easy, 100% natural way that costs less than a bottle of tea. This method is made by black people for black people, crafted with our unique genetics in mind. While digging into neuropathy treatments, we spotted something wild. All the studies and research on neuropathy meds were done on white folks. These drugs were developed and tested on white populations in the US and Europe. Sure, they might work for that crew, but the pharma industry, all about that bottom line, pushes these pills onto our black community like it works for everyone. And I don't even have to tell you, you've been knew firsthand that these traditional treatments just don't cut it for us. Even when we follow the doctor's orders, neuropathy keeps getting worse and our feet be burning with that fire and that unsettling numbness, making you feel like you're walking on glass or just can't feel the floor beneath you at all. It's no shocker that neuropathy hits our African American brothers and sisters at twice the rate it does white folks. I'm tired of seeing our community under a silent assault from neuropathy, leaving us all wondering why, even when we're taking all the right meds, our nerve pain just keeps advancing. This isn't only hitting the person with neuropathy, it brings hardship and heartache to the whole family. And you know what's even more frustrating? We're not doing enough about it. We've been told it's normal for neuropathy to get worse, but trust me, that ain't normal. We stand up for our rights and raise our voices when police brutality tries to take us down. The real truth is we're getting harmed in other ways too, and many of us don't even see it. Black health matters too, y'all. When I discovered that traditional neuropathy meds were crafted for white genetics and simply don't work right for us, I made it my mission to find a method that was on the one for fighting neuropathy in our community. New research showed us that these conventional drugs aren't just ineffective for black folks, they can actually do us harm. They build up in our bodies, forming a toxic layer of proteins that strangles our nerve endings and nerves, slowly short-circuiting our body's natural healing process. Imagine trying to charge a phone with a frayed, broken charger. It just ain't gonna happen, right? That's exactly what these toxic proteins are doing to your nerves. But now that we can finally see what's really going on, we have the chance to fix it. The University of Alabama calls these toxic proteins the deadliest enemy of neuropathy sufferers, the true silent killer of the black community in recent years, and the Colorado University pins them as the main reason neuropathy just won't leave our bodies. The solution that changed my life and is now reaching you went through multiple rounds of testing before its final form was set. And it's sure enough shown a 100% success rate in our community with over 112,000 folks tested. Plus, according to a report from the New York Times, doctors have admitted that in med school, they aren't taught how to treat black patients whose genetic makeup is totally different from that of white populations. Now, y'all might be wondering, why haven't you seen this blown up on the front page of your favorite news source? You know, here's the lowdown. For any real medical breakthrough to hit the headlines, it's gotta get the nod from the big players, the pharmaceutical giants, top research institutions, and major medical organizations. Black people represent 40% of all profits of big pharma. They are ripping our community off. When a discovery like ours is about to flip their cash flow on its head, they bury it. They suppress it. That's why we couldn't just sit back and be silent. Not when every 4 seconds, another one of our African American folks gets diagnosed with neuropathy. And every 17 seconds, someone in our community suffers a life-altering fall from loss of balance or severe pain. And this is even when we know our method works, even in the toughest cases of neuropathy. When I decided to give the method from your video a try, I was real scared my nerve pain would get even worse, especially when I learned it had to do with my genetics. I used to be athletic, but had already suffered a bad fall and was practically at my wit's end. So I had nothing to lose, and thank goodness I took that chance. In just 1 month, my pain levels dropped from that constant fiery burning to almost nothing. And now, 3 months later, I can walk and stand for hours. I'm even back to playing with my grandkids without that sudden, shocking pain. Thank you. This discovery completely turned my life around.
Every doctor, every cat I saw told me there was no cure for neuropathy. So when I came across a video talking about a new method to beat it, I thought, man, that's gotta be some jive. But my neuropathy was getting worse fast, and I had to do something. My balance was getting super bad, and the numbness in my hands was slowly getting worse. I was dropping my phone, fumbling with my keys. It was a nightmare. To my shock, this was the only method that truly worked for me. My nerve conduction test showed dramatic improvement. I can finally live with dignity again. No more handfuls of gabapentin every day or being scared I'd fall all alone with no one there to help.
So listen up, pay close attention to this presentation that might change your life, because I don't know how long I'll be able to keep it online. We have to share it fast within our community so our people can reclaim their health. Now, scientists admit the miraculous power of this method lies in its triple action approach. This method is all about reactivating the genes that control nerve health in our bodies, and that makes all the difference when it comes to neuropathy. Once these genes are switched back on, they work in 3 powerful steps. First, they restore your nerves' natural function. Second, they let healing signals flow freely all over your body. And third, they bring your pain levels down to a comfortable range. Now, if you're feeling skeptical, I totally get it. Emotions run high, especially when you've been through every treatment under the sun with no luck. But starting today, things are going to change, and any African American can reverse their painful neuropathy. Soon enough, that walking on glass feeling will start to fade. Day by day, you'll regain more sensation in your feet, your balance will improve, and you'll start feeling confident about moving again. Most importantly, after years of constant burning and tingling, you'll begin sleeping through the night pain-free, without the sheets feeling like they're on fire, and the deep fatigue that held you back will fade away. Right before your eyes, it'll feel like you've turned the clock back by 10 years. In just 6 weeks, you'll forget about daily pills, that awful medication fog, numbness, and those awful side effects of medication. You'll regain the freedom to live a healthy life, the freedom to do what you want, when you want, to enjoy your favorite activities, like standing to cook a Sunday dinner without your legs giving out, and have the energy to play with your kids or grandkids for hours on end. So let's get rolling. I'm Dr. Darius Freeman. I'm a researcher at the University of Alabama. I'm married to Tanisha, my high school sweetheart, and we have 2 amazing kids, Russell and Candace. We're that kind of family, loving sports, eating healthy, and spending time together. But out of nowhere, my neuropathy nightmare hit hard. During the summer of 2020, right in the midst of the pandemic, I started having that strange tingling in my toes, and the soles of my feet began to have that constant nagging burn, like the sheets on the bed were made of fire. It was more than ever before, and I got real worried. I even thought it might be a circulation issue, so I went to see a specialist. After several tests, the doctor gave me a clean bill of health regarding my circulation, but that got me wondering what was really going on. I wouldn't have to wait long to find out. 3 weeks later, after celebrating my wife's birthday, I wound up in the ER after a terrible fall because my feet had gone completely numb, that terrifying, invisible numbness where you can't even feel the ground you're standing on. The next thing I remember, the docs looking at me saying I had severe neuropathy and was on the verge of permanent disability. Neuropathy? Disability? I could barely even get the words out as the doc broke it all down for me. I had to flip my whole routine, start doing special exercises, lose some weight, take 3 different meds, and be constantly careful about my balance. Jotting it all down so they could adjust the meds if need be. When I asked him how long, the doc come telling me, for the rest of your life, Mr. Freeman, there's no cure, just constant adjustments as the condition goes on. And just like that, he walked away. The doc had already said things would only get worse, so why all these meds? I just couldn't wrap my head around how I ended up here, especially since I always thought I was pretty healthy. That's when I sought a second opinion. But when the second doc repeated the same message, I felt sad, disappointed, and frustrated. Sad because my diagnosis was confirmed, bummed with myself for letting it get this far, and mad that the so-called treatment wasn't even a cure. Still, I rolled up my sleeves and did my best to follow their orders. For a while, things went okay, even though I sometimes felt low on energy, dizzy, or caught up in that awful medication fog, all too common for folks with neuropathy. Then my luck turned, or so I thought. I was down at the community center getting down in a spades game when I hit a streak and won playoff tickets. Not just any tickets, y'all. AFC wild card, Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. My son, Russell, he and I were through the roof. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry on the same field playing together. Man, we couldn't wait. The thought of it was pure electricity. The stadium was a madhouse, roaring with energy. The first half was a massacre. Ravens stomping the Steelers 21-0. At halftime, I told Russell, I'm gonna grab us some grub, son. He wanted the works. A large grape soda, a mountain of chicken wings, and a box of those crispy mac and cheese bites. The air was buzzing, and I was feeling good, almost like my old self. But those concession lines, Lord, they snaked halfway around the concourse. Time was ticking. Then I heard the roar of the crowd in the stadium. Third quarter kickoff. I'd missed it. I was in a rush. I grabbed the tray piled high with food and that giant soda. I knew deep down that numbness was still in my legs, but I shoved the thought aside. For real, I just had to get back to Russell, I muttered. I hit the top of our section and saw those steep stadium stairs plunging down. No problem, I thought, trying trying to pick up the pace, feeling a reckless surge like I was 20 again, taking them 2-3 at a time. Big, stupid mistake. One numb foot, it didn't feel the step. It didn't land right, it buckled. The next thing I knew, the whole world tilted. I was tumbling end over end. The tray flew from my hands. That large grape soda exploded like a sticky purple geyser, drenching everything. Chicken wings took flight like greasy missiles, and the mac and cheese bites scattered like lost marbles, bouncing down the concrete steps. I felt a hard thud as my head cracked against the step, then another jolt as my body slammed down, rolling, scraping down those damn stairs. I ended up in a crumpled pile. Right at our road, the spilled soda and fried food covered my body. I blinked, trying to clear the stars from my vision, and then I saw Russell. He was in shock, his eyes wide and mouth hanging open. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I was supposed to be a masculine role model, but I felt weak. I felt the blood begin to drop down my face, and a monstrous throbbing pain started to hammer inside my skull. I tried to push myself up to tell him I was okay, but my limbs felt like lead, refusing to move. Darkness began to creep in at the edges of my vision. One last blurry look at my boy's terrified face, his eyes filled with tears as he thought I was dying, and then nothing. Complete, utter blackout. When I came to, the first thing I saw was the harsh, sterile white ceiling of a hospital room. The beeping of machines was steady. My whole family was there, clustered around the bed. Their faces had a worried look. Tanisha was clutching my hand, her knuckles white, tears streaming down her face. It was a scene I knew all too well, but this time, the reason felt so much more idiotic, so damn preventable. They told me I'd been out for hours. A bad concussion, a nasty gash on my head that needed stitches, and my neuropathy, which I thought was manageable, was now ruining my life. Dr. Stevens walked in, his face grim. He told me, "Mr. Freeman, you gave us all quite a scare with that fall. We've treated the concussion and stitched up your head wound, and thankfully, there are no fractures. You're lucky to be alive, but we have to be brutally honest about this nerve pain you've got, especially now. Let's see how your body handles it going forward. But I need to be straight with you because you have neuropathy, and this fall has undoubtedly aggravated it significantly. This pain and numbness, it might never fully go away. The risk of another, perhaps even more fatal fall or permanently losing your mobility is very real. Nerves need movement and stimulation to have any chance of healing. But trauma like this sets you back, way back. That's the harsh, unforgiving truth with neuropathy. If you don't get your nerve function back in check, and soon the damage will keep spreading, keep worsening, and we might end up seeing you in a wheelchair, Mr. Freeman, if only to save you from a catastrophic, life-altering injury." I was left utterly speechless. My sense of reality was just crumbling around me. Then the doctor added, "Come back in a week so we can check your progress and decide our next move." On my way home, I didn't say a single word. I was still in shock. The shock of possibly losing my mobility hit me hard. I felt terrible. In the following days, I sank into a deep, dark depression. I was grieving the man I used to be, the one who could stand for hours full of energy, and the 4 medications I was taking for the pain, along with the other prescriptions, had me in that awful medication fog, feeling like a zombie. It was brutal. I was dizzy, had bouts of diarrhea, and would suddenly break into non-stop sweats. Man, I remember those nights like they were yesterday, waking up hollering because the sheets just brushing against my skin made my feet feel like they was burning alive. I'd have those nightmares about some doctor looking down at me saying, "You ain't ever walking right again." I'd sit up in a cold sweat, legs twitching, sweating like I'd done run a marathon, convinced this neuropathy was gonna steal my life away. I was so scared that all this nerve damage gonna fry my mind too, and I was filled with anxiety about the future, terrified of ending up in a wheelchair, a burden on the people I love. After wrestling with those awful thoughts and feelings, I realized something was truly wrong. I couldn't keep living like this. So I got down on my knees, started crying and prayed. I asked God to forgive me for not heeding the early signs of neuropathy. Then I begged him to help me find a way out of this nightmare. Once I let go and put my trust in a higher power, I finally felt a bit of relief, and I came to see that I had only 2 options. First, I could keep on taking the meds my doctors prescribed with all their nasty side effects, forever putting my life in the hands of a broken system that's already talking about putting me in a wheelchair. Or second, I could choose to fight for my life, hunt down the real cause of neuropathy, and kick it out of my body for good. Something inside me told me that the second option was the only way out. Right then and there, I knew my new mission in life was to beat this beast. Suddenly, a renewed ambition sparked inside me as if a fire had been lit. For the entire week that followed, I poured every ounce of my time into hunting down any info about neuropathy that might help me turn things around. I scoured medical websites, called up universities for published study details, and went into countless clinical trial reports, but nothing new ever came up. Every single conclusion was, take your meds and live with the pain. And that was exactly the problem. I wasn't about to settle for just being another pain patient. Then I stumbled on something that truly opened my eyes. I learned that the genetics of black people are a whole different ball game compared to those of white folks. When it comes to developing medications and treatments, every lab, without exception, has done their research and testing solely on white people. Sure, these treatments might work for a white American or European, but the cold truth is they're nearly useless for people like us. Even with that knowledge, doctors and Big Pharma kept pushing these treatments as if thought they were one-size-fits-all miracles while charging a fortune for them. I discovered that Big Pharma is shelling out a staggering $2.3 billion a year just to get doctors to promote their drugs, and the New York Times revealed that doctors are now prescribing 50% more medications than before, with each one costing $90 more than it should. That news made my stomach churn, but then there was a silver lining. I found something that made a real difference. I joined an online Black Lives Matter forum to speak up about what I'd uncovered, that these medications weren't working for us at all. Right there, I read incredible stories from black people who had managed to reverse their neuropathy without relying on medication, all thanks to a doctor named Andre, a real old head and genetics expert from South Africa, the continent known for its cutting-edge medical research on our people. This doctor discovered that because of our unique genetic makeup, treating neuropathy in black folks calls for a completely different approach than the traditional one. And the best part, he's now living right here in the United States. Chanel Green, a 67-year-old sister, said that with Andre's help, she went from battling advanced neuropathy, juggling 3 different pain meds a day, to completely kicking nerve pain out of her life. I read plenty of other real-life stories too, including one from a brother about my age who reversed his neuropathy in just 11 days. Reading those stories sparked a glimmer of hope in me. I started thinking, maybe, just maybe, I could beat this too. I got hyped and began posting in online forums, sharing my story and asking if anyone had heard of Andre. I was determined to track him down. 5 days later, to my amazement, a man called me and said, "Hi, this is Andre. I think I can help you." My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. And get this, he was living in Nashville, just a couple of hours away. He gave me his address and told me I could come see him the very next day. I didn't ask any extra questions. I knew I had to go to Andre's house and meet him. When I pulled up to the address, I found a small but well-kept house with a man sitting on the front porch. I called out, "Andre?" He turned around, waved at me, and invited me to sit at his porch table. We introduced ourselves, and I laid it all out. My neuropathy struggles, my balance issues, how I tried everything to get better, but it only felt worse. "You're my last hope, Andre," I told him. Then he began to share his own journey. Andre is a specialist in epigenetics. That's the science of how our genes flip on or off based on what our body needs. And let me tell you, that cat is madly passionate about his work. While he was studying 260 black patients in South Africa at various stages of neuropathy with some cutting-edge genetic testing, he stumbled on something crazy. He noticed that the genes responsible for nerve health and repair were shutting off in folks taking neuropathy medications. Because of that, the body couldn't regenerate damaged nerve endings. He also found a cluster of proteins around the nerve sheaths that had stopped working yet hadn't died. These odd proteins got dubbed nerve killer proteins, and the process is known as burst nerves. These bizarre nerve killer proteins just linger on, harming the healthy tissue around them. After several more months of dedicated research, Andre noticed that 93% of the folks with nerve killer proteins in their bodies were black. That's when it hit him. Something in African American genetics made these nerve killer proteins even more dangerous for us. Through countless experiments with his patients, Andre confirmed it was all about genetic factors. In our case, these pesky nerve killer proteins blocked the regeneration of the myelin sheath, the protective coating on our nerves, meaning our nerves just can't heal themselves. And that's exactly why our community struggles with nerve pain and can't seem to overcome neuropathy. Now we know these stubborn leftover proteins are the true culprits. For black folks, our unique genetics means that nerve signaling is also blocked, leading to full-blown neuropathy. As a result, every traditional treatment or past neuropathy study falls short for us, since all those medications were developed solely from research done on white Americans. But that's not all. If these nerve killer proteins rupture, they can spread to other parts of the body and cause even more serious issues like vision loss, cognitive decline, stiff arteries, osteoarthritis, and more. No wonder after a neuropathy diagnosis, your risk of developing Alzheimer's jumps by 65%. You're 78% more likely to experience vision problems or balance issues, and you're twice as likely to suffer a stroke or heart attack. So what's triggering these nerve killer proteins? According to Andre, it's an imbalance caused by a mix of medication combined with a specific nucleotide in the DNA of black individuals, creating the perfect storm for nerve killer proteins to multiply. These proteins suffer from toxin buildup, and when you mix that with underdeveloped nucleotides in our DNA, it stresses them out and stops them from working normally. Instead of dying off like they should, they turn toxic, sparking pain signal static in our nervous system, affecting our feet, hands, and even our brain. Basically, these nerve killer proteins were suffocating those nerves. So wait, I asked, how did you reverse neuropathy for all those folks who were giving you props on the forum? If we can give our genetics the right signal, he explained, the anti-neuropathy genes kick in across every cell in our body, and that's how we can wipe out these nerve killer proteins. See, our bodies have a crew of superhero proteins called myelin sheath protection. These warriors are built to clear out dead or damaged proteins, but nerve killer proteins aren't really dead. They're just hiding. That's why our myelin sheath protection can't grab them on their their own. He continued, my colleagues in Johannesburg and me, we developed a protocol to jumpstart a dormant part of our genetics that seeks out and destroys these nerve killer proteins. We use natural ingredients that science has proven boost the immune system and restore nerve health. Once we were 100% sure about the method, we tested it on the same 260 neuropathy patients in whom we'd already spotted these nerve killer proteins. The result was mind-blowing, like flipping on a light and watching all the nerve killer proteins vanish. Every single one of those people broke free from neuropathy. And what happened after that? I asked, still in disbelief. He said, well, I was in the lab, super excited about cracking the code for neuropathy in our black community and holding this groundbreaking solution in my hands when I got called into a meeting. At that time, our funding was coming from the World Bank over in the US. But in that meeting, they said they were pulling all the funding, seizing my research, and that I wasn't allowed to talk about this discovery or use the formula we had developed. The very next day, I was fired. Later, I found out that the research funding was actually from pharmaceutical companies, and they sure enough weren't happy about my discovery. As soon as word got out, he went on, Big Pharma used all its money and influence to wipe out any trace of this life-saving breakthrough. I was even banned from working at any research institute in my own country, and that sent me into a deep depression. And I moved to the United States to live with my brother. I was determined to help people any way I could. So to support myself, I took a job as a caregiver at a nursing home. I told that cat, Andre, I'm so sorry for the injustice you went through, but I'm ready to try your treatment and help spread the word. For real, I want that cure. Without missing a beat, he replied, it's all in this, as he pulled a small pouch of herbal powder out of his pocket. Take a scoop of this and mix it with your favorite drink in the morning. Make it your new morning ritual. Once you finish the pouch, come back and see me, okay? I was in disbelief after everything he told me. It seemed impossible that a simple natural powder could cure neuropathy, but I took the pouch and thanked him. I couldn't wait to get home and get down to the bottom of those genetic differences he mentioned. As a coach, I needed solid evidence. And guess what? Later that night, I found thousands of studies from top universities around the world. Scientists at Harvard confirmed that African American genetics are healthier and completely different from those of white Americans. Cambridge University labeled our genetic makeup as one of the best examples of a healthy body. And Oxford University stated that black folks only develop diseases when they use medications that aren't compatible with their genes. The hidden reason why neuropathy is so rampant among African Americans is that the medications and treatments used were never designed with us in mind. As soon as I read that, I knew Andre's solution was 100% on the one, backed by science. So I went ahead and did just as he said. I mixed the powder into a glass of water. Honestly, it tasted horrible, like I was drinking a juice made out of grass. But it worked. The very next morning, I woke up feeling different. My pain level was still the same. Some numbness was better, and for the first time ever, I actually had energy. I followed Andre's advice and made it my new morning ritual. After a week, something incredible happened. My morning foot pain dropped from a constant burn-in to a mild tingle. I'd never felt that much relief in the morning before. On top of that, my vision was crystal clear. I had more energy than I had in years. My balance improved, and that terrifying numbness in my feet began to fade until I could feel the floor again. My doctor was stunned when I came in for my checkup and even called me a walking miracle. That's when I started feeling real sorry for ever doubting Andre. I rushed over to his house buzzing with excitement and asked him what was going on. My pain is better than ever, and I feel amazing. I even walked barefoot on the grass last night, and it only tingled a little bit. Before, just one step would have sent shooting pains up my leg. Andre gave me a knowing smile as he leaned in like he was about to spill a big secret. It's all thanks to this special blend of herbs and natural ingredients that supercharges your body's myelin sheath protection. They dissolve the nerve killer proteins strangling your nerves. Please, Andre, we need to tell everyone about this. I urged. This isn't just a breakthrough, it saved my life. My doctor literally called me a walking miracle. He hesitated for a moment, and I couldn't blame him. Not after everything he'd been through in South Africa, facing heavy pressure from a corrupt multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical company. But really, what did he have to lose? I'm not exactly sure what tipped the scales, whether it was my persistence, his own passion to help people, or a mix of both. But in the end, he agreed. We began sharing my story along with those of others he'd helped in the U.S. Like Chanel Green's testimony I mentioned earlier. She was diagnosed in her late 40s with burning pain that rated a 9 out of 10. After 7 months of taking this natural solution daily, her pain levels dropped to a 1. Then there's Charles Robinson, who reversed his neuropathy in just 11 days and remains pain-free. And there were plenty more cases with these incredible results. Before we even thought about making this available, we set some ground rules for the treatment. First off, it had to be a black-owned company. Then it had to work for all neuropathy sufferers, whether you've been battling nerve pain for years, were just diagnosed, or even if you're pre-diabetic. It also needed to deliver results in under 6 months, because we all know you don't have forever to wait for a change. And last, it had to be backed by several independent studies. We stuck to these basic rules so we could prove, even to the most skeptical neuropathy sufferers who swore it was impossible, that our treatment really works and is 100% supported by science. Soon enough, our our awareness campaign went viral, and everybody wanted to know about our solution. So here's a quick lowdown on what's in the formula. Now listen up real close, because this is info the pharmaceutical cartel has worked mighty hard to hide from you and the entire African American community. Remember, this only works when you mix the purest ingredients in the right proportions to fully activate those anti-neuropathy effects and stop complications in their tracks. Without proper preparation, the whole protocol is basically useless. It won't trigger the genes we need to flip on. Ever notice how some supplements and vitamins just don't seem to do anything? Well, there's a reason for that. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that 89% of supplements sold on Amazon had misleading labels, didn't even come close to containing the active ingredients they claimed, and were loaded with useless fillers. Makes you wonder what they're really putting in those pills, right? That's why we struggled to source the highest quality and purest ingredients. The first ingredient is passion flower herb powder, a small woody shrub that's been used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years. Its superpower is boosting your immune system, especially your myelin sheath protection, giving them the energy they need to kick off the first stage of the neuropathy reversal process. This is stage 1, where myelin sheath protection starts detecting and wiping out those pesky nerve killer proteins. This stage essentially resets nerve healing because passion flower herb powder gives myelin sheath protection what you could call night vision goggles, helping them spot and eliminate nerve killer proteins for good, all while significantly calming pain signal static nerves and improving feeling. Next up is marshmallow root, which turns your myelin sheath protection into bona fide super soldiers. It's like an energy drink for your immune system. Plus, it helps improve circulation to the extremities, nourishing damaged nerves. Then Cordalis powder steps in to boost the number of your myelin sheath protection, making sure you have a full squad of warriors ready to wipe out those pesky nerve killer proteins, all while helping your healthy proteins grow stronger and keep that youthful spark. A 2023 study in the International Journal of Medical Science revealed that participants who took Cordalis powder for 8 weeks saw their nerve sensitivity return to normal. But that's not the whole story. Cordalis powder has also been proven to protect against permanent nerve damage, which hits 50% of neuropathy sufferers in the United States alone. Now in stage 2, where the real magic kicks in, your pain begins to drop into a comfortable range. This is when you start feeling energized, clear-headed, and more confident than ever. That's where prickly pear comes into play. The secret ingredient that makes your nerves work smarter, not harder. It helps improve nerve signal transmission throughout your entire body and makes your proteins more responsive. A 2021 study even showed that prickly pear can help restore proper nerve signaling. Imagine walking barefoot and still witnessing major improvements in your balance and feeling, with your pain dropping back to normal levels. But wait, it gets even better, because prickly pear has been shown to regrow nerve endings by up to 82%, and we didn't stop there. Another key ingredient is California poppy seed, ensuring your brain signals runs as smoothly as a finely tuned Swiss watch. This exotic plant has been shown to support sensory transmission signals to reduce any numbness or phantom limb sensations, which is critical since 65% of neuropathy sufferers face these issues. Then comes stage 3, the moment you can finally say, I am no longer in pain. At this point, all your lab results come back healthy. The need for pills and injections becomes a thing of the past, and your body is free from those damaging nerve killer proteins. And it's all thanks to this highly complex blend that goes beyond just the ingredients I've already mentioned. We're talking about rare plants that are hard to come by, plants that some doctors have never even heard of. It took us another 2 months to craft the prototype. We were able to distill and purify the compounds into their pure form and put them into an easy to swallow capsule with no bad taste at all. We could begin testing, and I won't lie, it was incredibly tough work. But in the end, every single moment was worth it. I finally had in my hands the proven formula that reversed my neuropathy, and I was ready to share it with every African American out there who's been fighting this battle just like me. Thanks to our awareness campaign, we rounded up 160 volunteers, men and women ranging from 40 to 82 years old, from all walks of life. Some had mild tingling, some had just been diagnosed, and others had been battling neuropathy for over 40 years to be sure the solution worked for everyone. Every single participant agreed to try our treatment for 180 days. We even delivered the solution personally to their homes. Each person got a form to track and report their weekly progress. I figured it'd take a few weeks before I got any updates, but what happened next was incredible. Just 1 week later, my phone started blowing up with calls from study participants. Everybody was excited, telling me their nerve pain levels were already looking way better, and they started getting feeling in their previously numb hands and feet too. They couldn't believe it. I told them to keep tracking their progress. When I reviewed the follow-up reports, the outcomes were truly remarkable. Of the 160 participants, 158 experienced complete clearance of the harmful nerve-degrading protein, rapid soothing of inflamed nerves, and full restoration of healthy nerve function. In just a few weeks, chronic nerve pain disappeared entirely. Every individual reported a dramatic reduction in burning, tingling, and numbness, essentially erasing neuropathy from their daily lives. Alongside pain relief, participants noted faster recovery from nerve-related discomfort after normal activities, restored sensitivity in affected areas, and renewed confidence in movement. It was as though their nervous systems had been completely rebooted. Now, you might be wondering what happened to the two people who didn't fully reverse their neuropathy. Well, their pain levels dropped to about a 1 or 2 out of 10, meaning their neuropathy was now under control and considered low risk. That alone added an estimated 10 extra years to their life expectancy. In short, the experiment was a complete success for everyone involved. We were so hyped, we couldn't wait to share this treatment with the world. And that's how the most powerful combination ever created in the fight against neuropathy was born. We named this formula Body and Limb Matrix, though we like to call it BLM. We picked that name first and foremost because those 3 letters stand for our movement for Black freedom and justice in America. Black Lives Matter. It's our way of saying that, yes, Black Lives Matter, and we're ready to fight to the end, not just for our own lives, but to challenge a scientific system that's always focused only on white people. For decades, we've been suffering from neuropathy because the medical and scientific industries never bothered to study our DNA or truly understand the unique biology of our people. And on top of that, we discovered that neuropathy affects us differently. After years of being sidelined by scientific research, who knows how many other diseases are quietly harming our communities while the system and medical industries do nothing to protect our health. We wear the name BLM with pride because Black Lives Matter. And that's exactly why BLM is an innovative solution made by Black people for Black people. This is a nonprofit solution that will help develop other scientific breakthroughs on treatments regarding Black people's genetics. All profits will be invested back into research that will benefit all of our community. We also firmly believe that we need more Black scientists and doctors. That's why we're dedicating a portion of our profits to college scholarships to help young Black men and women pay their tuition and ultimately nurture a brand new generation of scientists who genuinely care about Black health. Secondly, Body and Limb Matrix, or BLM, perfectly captures the incredible results of this natural formula. It maintains healthy nerve function with 100% efficiency. It's the only method that defends your body from nerve killer proteins and the most powerful way to control nerve pain, reverse neuropathy, and eliminate pain signal static around the nerves and in your hands, arms, feet, and legs. This is the very formula that reversed my neuropathy and helped over 112,000 African Americans break free from nerve pain issues. It's a highly effective formula you can start using right now and see results in just a few days. Brothers and sisters across the country have already confirmed this incredible breakthrough.
Every 6 months, my doctor would jack up my dose of gabapentin because my neuropathy kept getting worse. Soon enough, I started having stomach pain, sleeping poorly, and my balance was just fading away. I couldn't even stand in the church pew without having to shift around every few seconds. I was about to throw in the towel until my daughter came across something called BLM on the internet. We decided to give it a shot, especially when we saw it was researched and designed specifically for our unique genetics. And wouldn't you know it, just 1 month later, my pain dropped from a constant burning to a slight tingle. A few weeks on, it was just gone. I'm living the dream now, and I tell everybody about it. Thank you so much. Thank you to the creators of BLM.
My neuropathy started years ago, and I tried everything. Warm bath, exercise, special creams, plus gabapentin and high doses of pain medication. They worked for a hot minute, but nothing stuck. My neuropathy kept getting worse until one day I fell at home, the pain spiking to unbearable levels. I was rushed to the ER, and by some miracle, I didn't break a hip. I was desperate and willing to try anything. So honestly, BLM was just one more shot for me. I didn't even bother tracking my pain at first, because I didn't think it'd do a thing. But 2 weeks later, I started sleeping better. My balance got a bit better, and I finally noticed the pain. I couldn't believe it. It had dropped from a constant 8 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10 in just 21 days. I stuck with it, and after 1 month and 13 days, my pain was a miraculous 0. Now I can actually enjoy activities with my children and grandchildren without fear. Thank you, BLM, for giving me back my dignity and my joy for life.
How can you get your hands on this incredible supplement? The truth is, getting all the right ingredients to create this powerful formula, one that reverses neuropathy and works specifically for our genetics, is extremely tough. As Andre explained, 97% of the natural ingredients out there are either fake or loaded with pesticides. On top of that, the people who've tried our product and reclaimed their lives keep asking for more bottles for themselves, their families, and their friends, just to be sure they always have the power to fight neuropathy for the rest of their lives. There are even plenty of folks who don't have neuropathy, but take this supplement to rejuvenate their bodies, shed pounds, and boost the function of their nerves, liver, and heart, eliminating toxic nerve killer proteins around their organs. That's why our supply sells out in days. Plus, BLM is crafted in small batches, a process that takes up to 6 months to guarantee its quality and full effectiveness. And let's not forget, the big pharmaceutical companies are already coming after us with lawsuits, furious that we're cutting into their profits by helping innocent people desperate for a real cure. But now that you've tuned in and educated yourself with today's video, you're about to find out exactly how you can grab a fresh bottle. First off, here's exactly how you should take BLM. Take 2 capsules of BLM in the morning daily for at least 30 days. You can take them with a glass of water or your favorite drink. Trust me, within less than 3 weeks, your nerve pain will start stabilizing and your health markers will improve in under a month. But it's crucial that you continue eliminating those nerve killer proteins clogging your nervous system. That's how you significantly lower your risk of permanent nerve damage, balance issues, and cognitive problems, and how you'll feel your whole body recharging and renewing. Now, depending on your current condition, it might take up to 75 days to completely treat the damage caused by years of nerve killer protein buildup. In that case, most folks opt for 3 bottles of BLM. If you're serious about fighting off mobility complications and cognitive decline while tackling neuropathy, you'll need a 6-month supply of BLM. No one can precisely tell you how many toxic nerve killer proteins you have right now, since that depends on factors like your medical history, the duration of your neuropathy, your overall health, and your lifestyle choices. So, as a general rule, based on the positive results from over 112,000 African Americans, we recommend taking 6 bottles or more for a full 180-day period. That's the guaranteed time frame to fully eliminate the toxic proteins from your vital organs, effectively wiping out your neuropathy problems while boosting your metabolism and fat-burning abilities. It's clear why BLM is the only truly effective option for treating neuropathy. Nothing else has been proven to work. You could go to a doctor and endure the same torture they put me through, try every medication with all the side effects, and still come up with the same conclusion. Nothing works. The pain just keeps getting worse. You'd feel sicker, more depressed, exhausted, numb, and anxious. And I guarantee that the so-called alternative methods, meditation, acupuncture, or those trendy shakes, which are basically fake herbal extracts as that Amazon study showed, are nowhere near strong enough to treat neuropathy. All that is a waste of time, energy, and money, and you know it. They won't heal you in a million years. And when it comes to us black folks, the big industry cares even less. We've both felt it in our own skin every single day. But BLM can do the job in less than 3 weeks while also protecting you from future falls, mobility, and cognitive problems. Listen, if you don't understand why Andre and I originally wanted to price BLM at $380 a bottle, let me break it down for you. There's no doubt about it. BLM is 100% natural. All its ingredients are pure, and most of them are rare and hard to come by. And now, with those crazy tariffs the government is creating, it gets harder and harder to import some rare ingredients. Plus, this special formula was designed to target the root cause of neuropathy, a potentially debilitating condition that can leave you unable to walk, cost you your independence, or even take your life, especially in black bodies. Now, just think about the cost of seeing a specialist in your area, plus all that lab work and the lifelong medications you'll be forced to take, all based on research that was never even done with our DNA or our unique genetics in mind. So honestly, $380 a bottle should be a steal. But like I mentioned before, the goal of BLM isn't about profit. It's about fighting for the health of our people in a country built on our blood and sweat. All we want is to help you and folks like you get better. That's been the driving force behind my story and my mission right from the start. And that's why we're donating all profits to projects that will make black people healthier. I wish this miracle product had existed before I nearly traumatized my family. I can't change the past though. What matters now is that after receiving emails from people who said they couldn't afford BLM, I knew I had to make it accessible to everyone. That's why there's no way I could ever justify charging our brothers anywhere near $400 a bottle. And because you're watching this presentation right now, if you act today through our website and make the life-changing decision to invest in this extraordinary anti-neuropathy weapon, my kind team and I have agreed to offer you the only effective treatment that finally hits the stop button on neuropathy for just $89 per bottle. But you know what? I'm going to make the deal even sweeter because it's mad hard to get all those compounds. This deal is only good today while supplies last. Right below this video, you can peep how many folks are watching this presentation right now. Once we run out, those buy buttons are going to go dead until we cook up another batch, which takes like 3 to 6 months. Honestly, thinking about how many reservations we had last time, that next batch is probably going to be just for folks who already bought in. That's why the first 10 people who grab Body and Limb Matrix are going to get a private Zoom session with me plus a signed copy of my book, The Natural Reversal of Neuropathy, shipped right to your door. And if that ain't enough, the first 10 people who lock in the 6-pack of BLM get 6 more bottles free, giving y'all a full year's supply. Yeah, you read that right. With all the special bonuses, your order comes out completely free. It might sound like a lot, but the real benefit is breaking you free from this enemy that's been threatening your life. Because I know how hard it is to live in constant fear. Fear of falling, losing your mobility, or being a burden to your family. I've put together a special discounted 6-bottle bundle just for you. That's 6 bottles of BLM for only $49 each, totaling $294. This offer is available only today, while supplies last, through the button below. Once these bottles are gone, these buy now buttons will disappear until we can produce another batch, which might take 5 to 6 months. So click on the 6-bottle bundle or whichever package you prefer below to lock in your order today. Consider this the smallest yet most powerful investment you can make in yourself. A single bottle of BLM can stabilize your nerve pain and help clear up restless sleep, low energy, and numbness. 3 bottles might be enough to quickly get your entire body back on track, shedding excess weight, improving your circulation, and rejuvenating your brain cells so that the pain and fog are a thing of the past. But 6 bottles of BLM can make your body immune not just to neuropathy, numbness, or poor circulation, but to all the issues caused by those nerve killer proteins that accumulate around your vital organs like the nerves, liver, and heart. That way, you'll wipe out all kinds of pain signal static from your body, including some you might not even have noticed. Just click the order button below after choosing the package that works best for you, and you'll be directed to our secure checkout page. Enter your correct shipping address and payment